Welcome back to 360 Sports. I'm your host, Gina, alongside Chase, Sawyer, and Brady. The World Series is underway, and we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Starting off with the Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead over the Dodgers in this World Series. Last night, rookie Trey Savage had an amazing start for the Blue Jays. He tossed 7 one-run innings, striking out 12 of the Dodgers. So the series is going back to Toronto now. Do we think the Dodgers can claw their way back, or is Toronto going to win it all?
Honestly, no, I don't think the Dodgers are going to be able to do it just because Toronto is going to be absolutely rowdy tomorrow night. And you say they got Yamamoto on the mound. Blue Jays have Kevin Gausman, who has a 2.55 ERA in the postseason thus far. Toronto's been waiting for something like this since 1993, 32 whole years. They are not going. The Blue Jays are a very resilient team, as shown after Game 3, the ability to win Games 4 and 5. So they're going to go back home with a purpose, and that Toronto crowd, with the entire nation on their backs, they're gonna succeed. I'd be very impressed if the Dodgers came back and won this.
Yeah, well, Game 6 definitely is going to be the biggest test for Toronto because they are going against Yamamoto, who threw in Game 2, obviously throwing a complete game, only allowing 1 earned run. He struck out 8 in that game. So that's going to be tough. But to your point, Kevin Gausman was good. He threw 6 2/3, allowing 3 earned while striking out 6. So not a bad outing by any means. But is Yamamoto that good that he can get them to Game 7?
Yeah, I personally think this series is going to go to 7 games. Like you mentioned, Yamamoto's on the mound, and the Dodgers have kind of dominated in the playoffs while he's on the mound. I'll get to my predictions later, but I kind of just want to review what happened last night's game. I think it's worth noting Blake Snell gave up another 5 earned run game. That's his second one this series, so he's given up 10 earned runs this series. And for a pitcher who has been really good the whole season, this postseason, he's kind of folded and let the Dodgers down, I would say. And yeah, the only run came off the back of Enrique Hernandez last night. And with all the star power that the Dodgers have, I'm a little disappointed. And Mookie Betts, Ohtani, and many others that they gave all this money to, and they can't really get a hit in the crunch time.
Yeah, I think it's been a disappointing entire postseason for Betts specifically. Obviously, Ohtani has looked a lot better. In that 18-inning marathon game in Game 3, 4 for 4, 2 homers, 2 doubles, and he walked 5 times, on base 9 times. That ties the MLB record and sets the postseason record. So, I don't know. I stayed up for that game, ended about 2:30. So that was something in Game 3.
Well, we'll get into that one in a little bit, but I agree with you guys. I think maybe the Blue Jays just want it more, and they're taking it back to Toronto. They have the entire country on their back. Like you said, they're playing for something they've been looking for so long, and I just think they're showing grit and resilience. And even though the Dodgers are powerful, and I don't think we can talk about Yamamoto, like he just threw a complete game the other day, so you can't count him out. And then if their lineup does step up, like they didn't last night, but Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman with that walk-off in that huge game. So I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see, but I do think it should go 7. I hope it goes 7. I think it will, just for the love of the game. I mean, 7 games is always very intense, but
yeah, like you mentioned, Ohtani, I think he has to show up if the Dodgers want any chance of winning. I heard this thing, when Ohtani's batting good, the Dodgers do good. Like in the games they've won, Ohtani's been great. In the games that they've lost, Ohtani's only had 1 hit or less. He hasn't really reached base. So the Dodgers are kind of dependent on Ohtani. And if the Blue Jays pitchers can pitch around him and shut him down, they basically shut the whole team down.
I mean, I think the biggest key to success for LA is to get ahead early, right? If Yamamoto can go out and he can throw a scoreless first 3 innings, really set the tone for them. Dodgers put up 2 or 3 runs. It could be a tough night for Toronto.
It could.
And we see when the Blue Jays, they usually like to score like the first couple innings. Like last night, we saw the 2 back-to-back home runs. They really come out firing like the first and second inning, and they get these leads that the Dodgers just can't come back. So if they can hold them to like a scoreless couple, like first 3 innings, I think they'll be in good shape. And Yamamoto obviously can do that. We've seen him do that countless times.
Yeah, especially with the Dodgers offense. They have been really bad the last few games. I'm pretty sure they scored like 4 runs in their last 27 innings. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can find that spark now with their backs against the wall.
Yeah. All right, well, we have to talk about that 18-inning game in Game 3 where Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off home run. So was this the greatest baseball game you guys have seen in your lifetime?
It's up there. It's definitely up there. It's the greatest World Series game I've ever seen. It's on the level of the 18-inning game in 2018 between the Dodgers and the Red Sox, where Max Muncy ended up hitting the walk-off home run. But it's definitely up there. I can't really think of another game that I've seen that can match the intensity, the constant the bullpen work. Also, shout out Will Klein. 4 scoreless innings in extras, only allowed 1 hit. That's about as good as it gets for a guy that barely pitched in the regular season. But yeah, I think it's the greatest game I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was Will Klein and about 18 other pitchers that were used. There was a total of 19 pitchers used between both teams, which is just insane to me. And the game lasted 6 hours and 39 minutes. I think that's the second longest World Series game. The first was the one in 2018 with the Dodgers before the pitch clock. So it was definitely a long game. And I think the reason it went so long was because the base running errors made in the extra innings. There was one where they sent Ohtani, and he kind of came off the base and he was trying to steal second, he couldn't. And the Blue Jays made a couple of really bad base running mistakes coming around third, trying to get that run home, and they couldn't.
Yeah, I feel like that entire extra innings, we were just waiting for the Dodgers to win it. The Blue Jays couldn't do anything offensively. They only got a runner in scoring position twice that entire extra innings, and the Dodgers kept getting runners on second with less than 2 outs and then just kept popping up and not scoring, and the Blue Jays kept getting out of it. And what was interesting was, as you said, Yamamoto, he pitched a complete game in Game 2. They were warming him up for Game 3.
Yeah.
They were that down bad with their pitchers. So that was honestly the greatest game I've ever seen. I'm glad I stayed up until 2 a.m.
Yeah, but with Will Klein, who he had never exceeded 30 pitches, and he was at 75 in that 18th inning, which is why they had to get Yamamoto loose, because they had nobody else in the bullpen. Could you imagine if they had to put a position player in? It would have been the first time in postseason or World Series history.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Yamamoto threw that complete game and then volunteered to pitch if there was going to be a 19th inning is just insane. And that game just lasted so long. I mean, all the fans got free baseball. You basically watched 2 games at once. So
I also think it's worth mentioning that if Yamamoto had not thrown a complete game in Game 2, the Dodgers bullpen would have been more depleted coming into Game 3. So it's so beneficial that he did throw that complete game in Game 2. And it just goes to show how good this Dodgers bullpen is.
I mean, both of those teams completely wiped out their bullpens. And I heard people were talking and saying the Blue Jays and the Dodgers didn't have that strong of bullpens, but clearly they held it down in that game. And, the Blue Jays offense, they actually did have the bases loaded a couple of times, and that's one of the times Kershaw came in. That was really nice to see, considering he's retiring after this season, so that was his last time pitching at home.
Yeah, but he got 1 out, I believe, to end the inning. Yeah. But I just wanted to shout the Blue Jays. So I put myself in their scenario. They just lost. They split the home games, and they went on the road, lost an 18-inning game, and they have to play 2 more games away. So a lot of people, I'm not sure about you guys, but I was kind of thinking this might end in 5. I think Dodgers are going to run away with it. I give them a lot of credit because most teams would just roll over and be like, they'd kind of be depleted after losing a game like that. And they came back and won 2 straight games, and now they're going home trying to win it. They have the advantage now, and I think that they just deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, most teams would just completely fold if they lost essentially 2 games in 1 like that. So the resiliency from the Blue Jays, not just this World Series, but this postseason as a whole, has been fantastic to see.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of underdogs in the postseason, from the Diamondbacks in 2023 to the Nationals in 2019. Underdogs have made memorable runs to the World Series. We're going to go to the board and give our favorite underdog World Series runs, starting with you, Brady.
All right. All right. If you know me, you probably know where this is going. But my favorite World Series underdog moment was the 2022 Phillies. This was just such a magical moment as a Phillies fan. I became a Phillies fan in 2012. I had never seen them in the playoffs before. And all of a sudden in 2022, they finally clinched. I remember that moment. It was so awesome. And then they made that unexpected run of the World Series. They beat the Cardinals, which you didn't expect. They beat a loaded Braves team who were just the defending champs. And then they played San Diego and just absolutely crushed it. I remember watching Bryce Harper's home run in Game 5, the swing of his life, and I was just going nuts after a shift at work. It was just a fantastic run. Sadly, not gonna have another fantastic run with this core, but this 2022 Phillies team will always have a special place in my heart.
That was a really great run.
Yeah,
I
that
remember
was
watching
the
that.
birth of Red October.
Yeah, great series.
That was I mean the Phillies in 22. As a Met fan, I'm partial to the Phillies because I don't want to see them succeed. But I will be the first one to admit that run in 2022 was special.
Definitely.
All right, Chase, you're up next.
All right, I can't really pick my favorite team, the Orioles, because they haven't been in the World Series in like over 40 years. So I went with the Chicago Cubs in 2016. I know they had 103 wins this year, so why would you consider them an underdog? Well, it was their first World Series win since 1908. So it was over 100 years since their last World Series, and it just meant so much to the city. They're led by names like Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant, and it's just an all-time classic. It went to 7 games to beat Cleveland, formerly the Cleveland Indians. And it was just a really great series. Their whole fan base that's kind of has a special moment in all their hearts. And it was just great for the MLB for a World Series finally to come back to Chicago. And during the run, they beat teams like the Reds, the Giants, and the Dodgers, all great teams. And yeah, it's just a great story.
Yeah, that was a fantastic World Series. I remember that was the first World Series. I was 10 years old, and that was the first time I was ever allowed to stay up past midnight for a World Series before in my life.
That's a good reason too. That is definitely a good reason too. I remember watching Game 7 when Rajai Davis hit that game-tying homer in the 10th. I was literally jumping up and down in my room, not because I was rooting for either team, just because of the pure excitement of that game. But that was special.
Really great series. Okay, Sawyer, it's your turn.
All right. Well, this might be a bit of an unpopular pick, but I'm going to go with the 2023 Texas Rangers. They came in as a 5 seed. They actually blew the AL West in the last day of the season. They went 90-72 in the regular season. But what makes this team so special was really the culmination of a rebuild. They lost 104 games 2 years before that, and then 92 in the year prior. They came in, went 90-72, came in as the 5 seed. They didn't lose a playoff game until they got to the ALCS. And when they went to the World Series, the legend of Adolis Garcia, Game 1, walk-off homer. But the thing that makes this team the most special, in Game 3, Adolis Garcia and Max Scherzer each injured themselves, were not able to play in Game 4 or 5. That didn't affect Texas. They went on to win the World Series in 5 games, winning both Game 4 and 5. And that's due to credit to guys like Nathan Eovaldi, who really broke out after the All-Star break, Jordan Montgomery, who looked like a true ace, and then the young players, Evan Carter and Josh Jung, both were huge for them. So I'm going to go with the 2023 Texas Rangers.
Yeah, I feel like we truly haven't seen something like this in a long time. Like really, nobody thought they were going to win. They didn't really do anything the seasons before, or the seasons after. It was kind of just like a one-season thing, and they caught fire in the postseason. As I mentioned, I'm an Orioles fan. I was at the game when they played the Rangers in the ALDS, and Orioles had all this momentum going into it. They're the number one seed, and then the Rangers come out of nowhere. They barely squeaked into the playoffs, and now they sweep them and move on to the ALCS, where they eventually won the
that World Series was awesome.
That World Series was just a bunch of underdogs in
I,
there.
that's why it was so great. That's why I appreciate that 2023 World Series compared to the past 2 years, because the past 2 years we've had 2 teams both in the top 5 in payroll both years. So that's one that you really go to appreciate.
No one really expected that.
Very unpredictable, I'd say.
Exactly.
All right, now it's my pick. Okay, so for my pick, I have the 2021 Atlanta Braves over the Houston Astros. They were the least winningest team to come out of this postseason. They had 111 wins, I believe. Or no, I'm so sorry. They didn't have a winning record until the 111th day of the season. They didn't have a winning record until August. At the All-Star break, they were not even projected to make the postseason. They had a 7% chance, and they had a 0.3% chance of winning the World Series, and they still went on to do it. They were dealing with a lot of injuries that year, especially to Acuna and Ozuna, that really hit them hard. But there were guys in there that stepped up, like Freddie Freeman, like we always see him stepping up now. But the Braves did not have good odds at all. They didn't even win the NL East that year. I mean, that was the year the Mets were in first place for 90 days and then lost the division. So this was just, they defied all the odds and finished that season in glory.
You also had to pick an NL East team.
Listen. I didn't do
No,
on
but that was
purpose.
no. Look, the Braves. I'll be honest. I miss when the Braves were good. I really
know.
do. This season it was so weird for them.
Mhm.
Just the fact that I guess injuries. You just chalk it up to injuries this year.
Right.
No, they'll come back stronger, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, that was their first World Series championship since 1995. So,
Yeah, and that was a legendary trade deadline too. They pretty much built that whole core at the trade deadline.
mhm.
Was that when they got Solaire?
Yeah, that's when they got Soler, Jock.
Oh right,
They got,
I
like,
forgot
all
about
those-
They
Jock.
got like
I
all those
What's he
guys.
doing nowadays? What is Jock Peterson up to?
Pretty sure he's in Arizona or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
Mhm.
Texas maybe.
All right. Well, with Game 6 scheduled for tomorrow night and Game 7 tentatively scheduled, we're going to talk about who will be the hero for either of these teams. Have they win the World Series?
I think it's going to be George Springer. He's the one that originally got them to the World Series over Seattle, and he suffered an injury in Game 3, and he's been out. But it's rumored that he's going to be back for Game 6 potentially, and if he is, that's a huge boost for the Toronto offense. We see they're kind of on and off. Some days they're putting up many runs, the other days they're getting shut out based on the pitcher they're going against. But George Springer is just a guy. He's got that. He's got that dog in him, basically. He's their X factor. He can get clutch hits, and we've seen that already. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been so good this series that I think the Dodgers are starting to pitch around him, even like intentionally walking like we've seen. So they need another hitter that can drive in runs. I think it's going to be Springer.
Yeah, I really like Springer. I also had Springer just because it would add to the moment of things. He was injured for the past 2 games, comes back, delivers big, just like he has been all year, and especially in the ALCS. But I'll go with Vladdy. He's been fantastic this postseason. Honestly, if they win the World Series, he's going to win MVP. He has just been electric this postseason and really building to his legacy.
Well, you both have Springer. I also had Springer. But for the fact that I don't want to just also say George Springer, I'm going to change it big. I'm going to go Addison Barger. Had a grand slam in Game 1. Haven't really heard from him since then in these 4 games since. I'll go Addison Barger. I like him at home. Obviously had that grand slam at home. So I'll
Pinch
change.
hit grand slam.
Pinch,
too.
exactly. So
So-
guy can step up in the clutch, that's for sure. So I'll
Mhm.
take Barger.
I had Vladdy just because he was ALCS MVP, and I think he could definitely be World Series MVP if the Blue Jays can take it all. I mean, he's hitting .419 this postseason with a 500 on base percentage, over 1,000 OPS, and 8 home runs and 15 RBIs. So he's just doing it all.
All right.
You can't ask for more from Vladdy.
So none of us had any Dodgers.
Yeah, I was about to say, in all the scenarios we had, we all have like the Blue Jays winning. But if the Dodgers were to win, who do you guys think would be the one that would lead them there?
You would think it's Ohtani,
Mhm.
but they seem content on not pitching to him for the rest of the
Yeah.
Right,
series.
they
fine
intentionally
with
walked
that.
him 4 times in that 18-inning game. So
I mean, who can blame him either?
I know.
Look out for Teoscar Hernandez. He's been kind of slow. He has a homer
Like
in the
that.
World Series, so look out for Teoscar Hernandez to maybe make a spark, or Will Smith too.
Yeah.
Give me Freddie Freeman if
Yeah.
it's the Dodgers,
I also-
just because he has been the most clutch player on that team the entire time he's been there.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
think if it's not Ohtani, I think Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, I'll probably just say Ohtani, just be basic. I mean, he's the best player in the league for a reason. They need him. Like he's been stepping up, obviously, but
For sure.
games that he hasn't. They've lost. If they want to win, he's got to show up. And
He's
I think there's a chance. I think the Dodgers will win it tomorrow, like we discussed. They have Yamamoto on the mound. I think there's a very good chance it goes to 7 games, and then we'll see what happens from there.
right,
I
and
guess.
it could happen in a
Right.
one-game playoff,
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm. Okay, we're going to finish up the show with some non-World Series talk because that's what we've been talking about the whole time. And we're going to discuss some of the managerial moves that have been happening around the league. So we're going to start with the Nationals hiring Blake Butera, who is the youngest manager in 50 years. What do we think about that move?
All right. I don't like the Nationals at all, but this is my favorite managerial hire. He's the youngest MLB manager since 1972. He's only 33 years old. He's had a lot of success in the Rays minor league system, and this is the type of guy that you desperately need if you're in a rebuild like the Nationals are. I would honestly look for the Nationals to be contenders in 2 years minimum, just because Butera obviously knows how to get to the young guys' heads, and they still need to develop some guys like James Woods, C.J. Abrams, Brady House, Dylan Cruz, some guys like that, and Butera is just perfect to get straight to them, fix what's going wrong, and develop them even further, especially from this Rays organization that just develops everybody into a superstar, it seems.
Yeah, you kind of hammered the nail on the head there. I think, youngest manager in the MLB with one of the youngest cores in the MLB. Obviously, they have an exciting young core there in Washington, and I agree. I think in a couple of years, as a small market team, they're going to start to improve and maybe make the playoffs. But yeah, I agree. It's good to have a young manager with young talent.
Yeah, it's new blood, and I think that's what the Nationals need right now, especially considering how much they've fallen off since the 2019 World Series. I love the hire, basically with exactly what you guys said. I have nothing poor to say about this hire. I think it's a really, really good job by Washington.
I also think it's good. It's a fresh new set of eyes. He's young, so
Give him that an A+.
right, should help them with this rebuild. Next up, the Twins hired Derek Shelton, who was the former Pirates manager.
It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. There were so many better options. It's just Skip Schumacher still is jobless, and I just don't get it. He was the coach of the year, manager of the year in 2023 with the Marlins. Stepped away after a tough 2024. He reemerged as an insider. I forget what his direct title was for the Rangers. The fact that they did not look to him to lead this team in 2026. I don't get it. Derek Shelton had no success in Pittsburgh. What makes you think he's going to have success in Minnesota? I don't like the hire at all.
Yeah, I kind of said the same thing. I know that Pittsburgh, they don't like this. It's not completely on him that they're terrible. Their office doesn't like to spend a lot of money on their roster, but still, he clearly didn't do anything with the Pirates. They haven't made the postseason in how long? So I don't know what makes them think that he's going to win with the Twins. They're not that much different from the Pirates. They have a little higher payroll, but it's kind of like the same ordeal.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I really don't like this hire. This is not what Minnesota needs right now. And honestly, I don't know what Minnesota needs right now. They were so up and coming in 2023. That playoff series win was so exciting there. And then at the trade deadline this past season, they just traded half the team away. Mm-hmm. So I really don't know who you could have hired that would have honestly turn this ship around, but Derek Shelton is not going to help this at all.
No.
Look, you need a winner, right? You need to hire a proven winner, and that's why I said go get Skip Schumacher, because he took the Marlins to the playoffs in 2023. Obviously, they didn't perform well, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point is he got into the playoffs. The Twins, they've just been beaten down since they won that one series against Toronto 3 years ago at this point. Mm-hmm. So I just don't get it. There were better options for Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really know how much this hire is going to help them because they have fallen off the wagon. But didn't the Rangers just hire Skip Schumacher? Did they not just announce him as their manager?
Did they announce it?
I'm not sure.
I believe that they did.
Did they? So then there you go. That's
there were still better options out there for the Twins, so I'm not really sure what they were thinking with this one, but we're going to have to see how that plays out.
That's a perfect replacement for Texas.
Yeah.
And then next we have the Angels hired Kurt Suzuki, who's a former catcher. He does have experience in the game and a pretty good outlook on it. So what do we think about that hire?
Brady, I'll give it to you because I don't have a ton of opinions on Suzuki because it's a 1-year deal. I feel like they're not giving him the reins fully. This almost feels like a move that you're going to end up dropping him back to a different role and hiring somebody else.
Yeah, this really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's only a 1-year deal. It's like, all right, we'll hire you as manager, but we are not confident at all. So this pretty much feels like Suzuki's trying out to be an MLB manager, and the Angels are the perfect team to do that since they don't do anything. Well, they do waste Mike Trout's career, but that's pretty much all they do.
Right.
But
and they pay Anthony Rendon to not play baseball.
Yeah, but another former catcher that's being hired as an MLB manager. But I did find this interesting stat. 7 years ago, almost 50% of the managers in the MLB were former catchers. But now, including Suzuki, that number is only 4.
Wow.
There's only 4 former catchers that are managers in the MLB right now. So, I
Interesting.
thought
So
that
maybe
was an
they're not
interesting
that
stat.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off the first thing that you said, that the Angels front office don't really know what they're doing. I'm sorry to bash on the Angels, but they don't. They've made a lot of confusing moves in the past, and this is kind of just another one. It seems like kind of just a gap year or a bridge year hire. I don't think they have a long-term plan in place. I think that's what stopped them from getting from the postseason. They haven't had any long-term plans. It's just been short-term, and it hasn't worked out. And this is just adding to their case.
I don't really have many opinions either. I don't know how well this is going to play out for them because they just had a rough season as they've been having for the past couple of years, not doing much.
It feels like it's
There.
not the manager that's the issue.
I
No,
think
I
so,
don't think
too.
so. I think it is the front office.
Everybody that's put in that place is destined to fail.
Mhm.
Right? Suzuki is set up for failure. They're probably going to win 65 games this year. It's a tough situation.
It's sad to
a
see,
tough situation.
considering Mike Trout has no help, nothing. He's been injured so much, and he's one of the greatest players of this generation. So it's hard to see him not ever get anywhere.
Yeah, it's just depressing to see how his career is being wasted
Yeah,
in Anaheim.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
think about how he would have performed on a team that is contending right now. Now, he did actually fall off a little bit this year. I will say that he was healthy and he wasn't great, but
Mhm.
he's a generational talent.
Yeah.
And if he was on a team like, I don't know, the Yankees, could you imagine?
Well, I don't know about that. But our last managerial hire is actually my favorite. The Giants hired Tony Vitello, who was the former Tennessee Vols head coach, led them to a national championship. I really like this hire. I mean, normally when coaches from college baseball come in, they are bench coaches. They don't immediately go to be managers. So I think this is going to be interesting.
Not even normally. This is actually the first time ever that
Yes.
a college
Wow.
coach has come in and become an MLB manager. It was almost unheard of before this, but Tony Vitello is the perfect guy for this role. I am worried that this is not going to work out at all, because Tony Vitello has been coaching 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids.
True.
He's now in charge of a major league roster. A major league roster that has proven veterans on it. Is he the guy to step up? This is why you put these college coaches in bench coach roles first, to see how they can adapt. This could either be one of the best hires we've ever seen, or it could absolutely backfire on them, and he could be gone in 1 year and head right back to Tennessee.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but I do really like this hire. It's nice to see something different in the managerial hiring process. And he had a 341 and 131 record in college, so he was dominating in the NCAA. So I really like this hire, and it's nice to see something different in the MLB.
Yeah, definitely. I think he was the cream of the crop when it comes to the managerial openings that were for collegiate ball. But clearly they hired this guy. I know you mentioned it never happened before, but the reason they did that is because they do have so much confidence in him, and he's a guy that knows the game of baseball. He knows how to win. You said his stats. He's got his winning percentage has got to be up there with one of the best.
Yeah, it's over like 700.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So he clearly knows how to win. I think that's what the Giants want to do. They're in a competitive division. They missed out in the postseason this year with a good roster, and I think they're just ready to get back in contention.
I mean, the Giants were up there this season. They were up there in that wild card
They
race.
didn't have a bad year by any
No.
means.
Yeah.
They really didn't, but I think it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, it turns out successful and doesn't backfire on them.
Look, if this hire works out, the Giants will be serious contenders for the next 5 to 10 years, however long. Because he's still a young guy, right? He's not like you're not hiring a 65-year-old manager here.
Right.
So if this does work out for the Giants, it's an absolute slam dunk.
Yeah. Do you guys know how long the contract is? I didn't get to see that. Like how many years?
Honestly, I don't know if
I'm
they've
not
released it.
sure.
Whatever it is,
I'm sure it's more than one.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I think it's a couple
Because,
of
look, they're
years.
instilling him. They're giving him the reins, right?
Yeah.
They're trusting him with this team. For the Giants front office to do that, it shows how much, like you said, it shows how much confidence they actually have in him.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out with the World Series Game 6 tomorrow. So thank you for tuning in. That's all the time we have for you today. And happy Halloween tomorrow. Be safe, everyone.